Hollywood is a strange place. One careless whisper, one overheard conversation, one tiny spark, and suddenly the entire industry catches fire. That's exactly what happened on a quiet Tuesday morning inside the Paramount Studios stunt training facility, where the legend of Jason Statham vs. Steven Seagal first began. Jason Statham was there for a routine session. Nothing special, just a bit of pad work, conditioning, and rehearsing a few close combat sequences for his next action film. He moved with the same cold precision that made him famous, fast, focused, deadly calm. The stunt team loved working with him because he never acted like a superstar. He trained harder than the rookies and listened more than the veterans. But on that particular day, someone overheard something that changed everything. During a break, Jason was chatting with a stunt coordinator about old-school martial arts films. He casually mentioned that he had always been curious about Steven Seagal's Aikido skills, the efficiency, the wrist locks, the way Seagal claimed he could control a man twice his size without breaking a sweat. Jason said it respectfully, almost admiringly. But the problem wasn't what he said, it was who heard it. A junior producer standing nearby caught only half the sentence. He didn't hear the admiration. He didn't hear the respect. He heard one thing. Jason Statham wants to test Steven Seagal. And that was enough. He rushed to another producer, who told a stuntman, who told an assistant, who told a makeup artist, and within hours, the rumor spread across the studio like wildfire. By lunchtime, people were whispering in hallways. "Did you hear? Jason challenged Seagal. Are they gonna spar? Is it real? Or just ego?" Of course, rumors grow teeth as they travel, and by the time they reached Steven Seagal himself, they were unrecognizable. Someone told him Jason Statham thought his martial arts were outdated. Someone else told him Jason questioned whether Seagal could handle a real fighter. Steven Seagal didn't laugh it off. He didn't ignore it. He didn't even ask for clarification. Instead, he stood up, adjusted his black robe-like jacket, narrowed his eyes, and said one chilling sentence. "Then let's see if he's man enough to say it to my face." What happened next? Stunned Hollywood. News of Jason Statham challenging Steven Seagal spread across the internet like wildfire. Within hours, every major entertainment channel was breaking the story, every blog was dissecting it, and millions of fans were rushing to social media to take sides. What started as a private disagreement on a film set had now transformed into a worldwide phenomenon. Jason had always been known for his honesty, straightforward, blunt, and willing to stand by his principles. Seagal, on the other hand, carried the aura of a martial arts mystic, unpredictable but undeniably iconic. Their clash was the kind of drama Hollywood hadn't seen in years, and fans across continents were glued to their screens. Live streams discussing the challenge appeared instantly. Comments flooded in from every corner of the world. Even the streaming platform's interface changed as viewers from different countries began to identify themselves. "I'm watching from Toronto, Canada, no way Statham loses. Seagal fan here from Osaka, Japan. Respect the legend. Pakistan, Karachi reporting in. Yeah, fight to historic Hone Wali High. From London, UK. This is unreal." The producers saw something they never expected. This wasn't just Hollywood drama anymore, it had become a global event. People from America to Australia, Dubai to Delhi, Riyadh to Rio, everyone wanted to witness what would happen next. The world didn't just want entertainment, they wanted answers. Inside the studio, tension sat thick in the air. Security had doubled. Reporters waited outside the gates. Paparazzi drones hovered like vultures. Even staff members whispered behind closed doors, wondering how far things might escalate. Jason, still furious yet composed, reviewed footage of Seagal's claims and interviews. Each clip only fueled his determination. The internet had now started running hashtags, hashtag Team Statham, hashtag Team Seagal, hashtag Real Martial Artist, hashtag Hollywood Showdown. Jason ignored them. For him, this wasn't about trending, This was about respect. Meanwhile, Steven Seagal sat in his trailer, calm as a frozen lake. If he was bothered by Jason's challenge, he didn't show it. He simply sipped his tea, glancing occasionally at the news coverage. His assistant nervously updated him. "Sir, viewers want to know from which country and city they're watching the developing situation. It's become a worldwide roll call." Seagal smirked. "Let them watch. Let them judge." He picked up his phone and posted a short, cold message on his social feed. "A challenge means nothing without discipline. The world will soon understand." The post exploded within minutes. People began posting their locations under it. "Watching from Istanbul. Here from Dubai. Seagal will destroy him. South Africa checking in. This is history. Lahore, Pakistan. Can't wait to see who wins." Hollywood executives were now in panic mode. The situation was too big to ignore, too viral to stop. They arranged a press conference to calm the storm, hoping both actors would step back and de-escalate. But the fans didn't want peace, they wanted a showdown. Reporters gathered, microphones ready, cameras live in dozens of languages. When Jason arrived, he spoke firmly. "Look, I respect the craft. But lies don't sit well with me. If someone claims to be something they're not, I won't stay quiet. If Steven wants to prove himself, he knows where to find me." The room erupted. Minutes later, Seagal entered with his signature slow walk, wearing black shades and a long coat despite being indoors. With the calmness of a monk and the pride of a warrior, he simply stated, "I don't argue. I demonstrate." Full silence. Every viewer from every city, from Tokyo to Lahore, New York to Karachi, London to Dubai, felt the shiver of what was about to unfold. Hollywood had no idea what it had unleashed. The press conference was supposed to calm the situation, but it had the exact opposite effect. Jason's sharp tone and Seagal's calm yet intimidating presence created an atmosphere so electrifying that the entire entertainment industry felt the shockwaves. Within hours, hashtags for the two actors rocketed to the top of global trending lists. Fans split into two massive online armies, each defending their hero with fiery passion. Debates erupted in comments, forums, reaction videos, and live streams. Viewers from every country proudly announced their city as though they were reporting to a battlefield. "Karachi watching, and Jason is definitely winning this fight. Tokyo here. Seagal has real training, don't underestimate him. Lahore checking in. This showdown is insane. London, UK. This is bigger than UFC. New York City. I've got popcorn, let the legends go at it." Hollywood executives had never seen anything like it. Directors, stunt coordinators, martial arts masters, even actors from rival studios were watching closely. It was as if the entire world had paused just to witness the rising tension between two of cinema's greatest action stars. But behind the scenes, things were spiraling out of control. The training begins. Jason Statham didn't waste a single minute after the conference. As soon as he entered his training facility, the entire gym fell silent. He wasn't angry anymore, he was focused. Focused like a laser beam cutting through steel. His coach, a veteran stunt coordinator named Marcus Bradley, studied Jason's expression carefully. "You're not here to prove something to Hollywood," Marcus said quietly. Jason wrapped his hands with tape. "No, Marcus. I'm here to prove something to myself." Punch after punch, kick after kick, Jason pushed his body harder than he had in years. Sweat poured down his face, muscles strained, breath steady like a machine. Every strike felt like he was taking out years of frustration, not on Seagal, but on the industry that sometimes blurred truth with illusion. Marcus watched in awe. Jason wasn't training for a movie. He was training for a reckoning. Meanwhile, across town, Steven Seagal prepared in his own way. Unlike Jason's explosive intensity, Seagal trained slowly, deliberately, like a master sharpening a blade with delicate precision. His dojo was quiet, lit only by lanterns. Soft traditional Japanese music echoed in the background. Every movement he made was calm, controlled, almost ghost-like. An apprentice hesitated before speaking. "Master, the world is waiting for your response." Seagal opened his eyes, half smiling. "The world rushes. But patience wins battles." His training reflected his beliefs: minimal movement, maximal impact. Aikido wasn't about aggression, it was about using your opponent's force against them. Seagal practiced with opponents twice his size, effortlessly redirecting their energy and sending them crashing to the mats without breaking a sweat. Two men. Two styles. Two philosophies about to collide. Hollywood holds its breath. As both actors trained in silence, the outside world grew louder. News channels from Pakistan, Japan, UK, UAE, USA, Australia, Turkey, and more followed the story non-stop. Social media challenges appeared. Hashtag Statham Kick Challenge. Hashtag Seagal Wristlock Challenge. Hashtag Hollywood Showdown. Hashtag Choose Your Warrior. Reactions from celebrities flooded in. A famous UFC fighter tweeted, "If this actually goes down, I want front row seats." A director joked, "Someone call Netflix, this could be the biggest reality show ever filmed." People were hooked, but Hollywood was terrified. Insurance companies warned the studios. If these actors injure themselves, productions worth hundreds of millions could collapse. But the momentum was unstoppable. The contract that changed everything. On the third day of the chaos, a meeting was held in a massive executive room overlooking Los Angeles. Producers, lawyers, agents, PR specialists, everyone who had power in Hollywood gathered around a long table. A senior executive finally spoke. "We can't stop them. But we can control it." A bold idea formed. A televised event. Neutral venue. Both actors protected legally. Rules defined. A charity angle to soften public perception. If Jason and Seagal agreed, the event could become the biggest broadcast in modern entertainment history. After hours of planning, the studio drafted a thick contract labeled the Hollywood Honor Challenge. Jason arrived first. He read every clause carefully. When he saw the section labeled Mutual Respect Statement, he exhaled deeply. "This is fair," Jason said. "I just want the truth to come out." He signed. Seagal entered moments later, walking in slowly, almost gliding. He skimmed through the contract, expression unreadable. When he reached the same clause, he paused for a long moment. The room went silent. Finally, he picked up the pen. With one stroke, he signed. Hollywood froze. The challenge was now official. The world prepares for impact. Within minutes, every news outlet on the planet reported the update. Fans from every city, Karachi, Mumbai, Tokyo, New York, Riyadh, Istanbul, London, Lahore, Dubai, posted videos celebrating. Reaction channels exploded. Memes took over the internet. Hollywood stocks even fluctuated because of the hype. People didn't just want to watch a fight, they wanted to witness history. Two legends. Two paths. One truth waiting to be revealed. The stage was set. The world was watching. And Hollywood was about to be shaken to its core. The contract was signed. The challenge was official. But before the world could explode with excitement, something happened inside the studio lot that changed the tone of the entire showdown. It began on stage 14 at Universal Studios, where Jason Statham was scheduled for a costume fitting for his next film. The studio was buzzing with workers, cameramen, assistants, extras, sound engineers, and set designers. Everyone pretended to be busy, but their eyes kept drifting toward the man who had become the center of global attention. Jason felt it. Everyone felt it. The pressure of millions watching. He kept his posture straight, shoulders firm, jaw set. But beneath the calm exterior, a storm brewed. Not fear, Jason knew fear well and had made peace with it long ago. This was something heavier, responsibility. He didn't want this challenge to turn into a circus, or worse, to become a symbol of ego. As he walked through the studio, someone suddenly stepped forward. A young stunt trainee, barely 20, nervous, trembling, held out his phone. "Sir, I just wanted to say, you inspired me to start martial arts. I'm from Manila. My whole family is watching everything you do right now. Please, don't let anyone disrespect you." Jason stopped. A hush spread across the room. He took a breath, placed his hand on the trainee's shoulder, and said softly, "I'm not doing this to prove I'm better than anyone. I'm doing this because truth matters." The moment went viral. Millions watched the clip and felt respect growing even deeper for Jason. But on the other side of Hollywood, something very different was happening. The legend walks in, Seagal arrives. Steven Seagal entered the Warner Brothers lot like a shadow from another era. His long coat swayed behind him, his calm, heavy steps echoed across the pavement. People didn't shout or cheer, they watched in silence. There was something intimidating about him, something ancient and disciplined. A security guard rushed over, breathless. "Mr. Seagal, sir. People are waiting inside for the rehearsal." Seagal didn't respond immediately. Instead, he stopped near a group of martial arts students rehearsing for a fight scene. They were practicing fast, aggressive choreography, lots of kicks, flashy tricks, spinning moves. Seagal watched for 5 seconds before shaking his head. "That's not real combat," he said, his voice deep and slow. The students froze. One dared to ask, "What's real combat, sir?" Seagal stepped into the center of the group. A stuntman, trying to impress him, lunged with a punch. Seagal didn't even flinch. He subtly shifted his wrist, redirected the punch, and the stuntman found himself flipped backward onto the mat in one fluid, almost invisible movement. The studio gasped. Seagal spoke quietly. "Efficiency beats strength. Precision beats speed." A director nearby whispered, "God. Jason has no idea what he's walking into." But he was wrong. Jason knew exactly. Hollywood realizes who they're dealing with. By the end of the day, both men's reputations skyrocketed. Rumors circulated through studio hallways. Jason trains harder than anyone in Hollywood. Seagal's wrist locks are unstoppable. Jason's discipline is unmatched. Seagal's technique is on another level. But the true turning point came during a special meeting at the Dolby Theater, the same venue used for the Oscars. Executives from major networks, streaming platforms, and film studios gathered to discuss the upcoming event. The room was filled with tension until one producer dropped a bomb. "We underestimated them. This isn't a Hollywood stunt. These are two legends who actually live their craft." Another added, "They're not doing this for fame. This is personal honor." Suddenly, the tone of the whole showdown shifted. It wasn't just entertainment anymore. It wasn't a fight. It was a clash of philosophies. A duel between two different worlds. Jason's disciplined, modern, high-pressure training. Versus Seagal's ancient, calm, razor-sharp mastery. The media stopped treating it like gossip and started treating it like history. The crowd chooses sides. Outside the studios, fans gathered in massive groups, shouting at the gates. "Jason! Jason! Jason! Seagal! 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 We want the showdown!" People waved signs. Team Statham, speed and power. Team Seagal, master of Aikido. Let the legends fight. News helicopters circled the studios. Reporters camped outside entrances. Traffic halted for hours. Hollywood had become a battleground. But in the middle of all this chaos, something unexpected happened. A small group of elderly martial artists arrived outside Universal Studios carrying traditional Japanese banners. They bowed to Jason. One of them, a grandmaster in his 80s, spoke slowly. In the East, honor matters more than victory. You must walk with humility. Jason bowed deeply in return. And later that evening, a similar group of British boxers, some old, some young, visited Seagal. You're a warrior, Steven. Show the world what experience looks like. Seagal nodded respectfully. 2 cultures. 2 legacies. 2 armies behind them. The world waits. By nightfall, the entire globe was holding its breath. News alerts flashed. The date of the Statham, Seagal Showdown will be announced tomorrow. People stayed awake across time zones. Karachi, Mumbai, London, Manila, Dubai, Tokyo, New York, everyone. The hype was unstoppable. The respect was real. And the tension, unbearable. Hollywood had never seen anything like it. The morning of the official announcement arrived like a storm. The entire boulevard outside the Dolby Theater was sealed off by police. News vans, cameras, drones, crowds, Hollywood looked like it was hosting the biggest event of the century. Yet Jason Statham remained calm. He stood backstage in a quiet hallway, pacing slowly. Not out of nerves, but out of discipline. His breathing was controlled, his posture strong. But his mind? It was racing. Not about the fight, but about the message behind it. His coach Marcus approached him. You ready? Jason nodded. Ready isn't the word. But I'm prepared. Marcus placed a hand on his shoulder. Remember, this isn't about beating Seagal. It's about truth. Jason exhaled sharply. That's exactly why it's heavy. He walked toward the backstage curtain. But what Jason didn't know was that Steven Seagal was already there, silently waiting in the shadows. White medium star, the first face OFF. The 2 legends locked eyes. No lights. No audience. No cameras. Just 2 men, 2 histories, 2 philosophies. Jason stepped forward first, respectful but direct. Look, Steven. I never challenged you. It all got twisted. I don't want this to become a circus. Seagal didn't blink. He stood tall, hands behind his back, his expression unreadable. You think I care about a circus, he said slowly. I care about respect. Jason clenched his jaw. I gave you respect. I always did. A pause. Seagal stepped closer, so close that their shadows merged. Intent matters, Seagal said. And the world believes you questioned me. Jason shook his head. I don't need the world to believe anything. I know my truth. Seagal raised an eyebrow. And you think truth protects you? Jason didn't back down. No. But standing up for it does. The air between them felt like a fuse waiting to ignite. White medium star, a philosophy clash, 2 worlds collide. Seagal took a long breath, his voice deep and calm like a monk. You fight with force, he said. I fight with balance. Jason smirked. And balance won't save you if force hits harder. Seagal shook his head slowly. That's where you're wrong. The strongest punch is useless, if redirected. Jason stepped even closer, his stare sharp as steel. You think I don't know that? You think I'm just some tough guy who hits things? Seagal remained silent. Jason continued, voice rising, chest heaving. I studied martial arts long before Hollywood paid attention. I lived in the gym. I bled on the mats. I respect discipline more than fame. Seagal responded coldly. Respect is proven, not spoken. Jason's eyes narrowed. And arrogance hides behind big words. That line landed like a punch. Seagal's nostrils flared, but his body stayed still. For the first time, he wasn't the calm, untouchable master. He looked challenged. White medium star. The crowd erupts as they walk on stage. A producer rushed toward them, nearly screaming. You're both on in 10 seconds. The world is watching. Jason didn't break eye contact. Whatever happens next, Steven. I hope you understand, I'm not your enemy. Seagal replied softly. We'll see. They walked onto the stage. The moment the audience saw them together, the theater exploded with screams. Cameras flashed so intensely that the stage looked like lightning striking repeatedly. Jason and Seagal stood at opposite sides of the podium as the host began announcing the details of the showdown. But the world wasn't listening to the host, they were watching them. Their body language. Their eye contact. Their silence. Two lions sharing the same cage. White medium star Jason finally speaks, and silences the world. When it was Jason's turn to talk, he stepped toward the microphone. But instead of reading the prepared statement, he set the card aside. I'm going to speak from the heart, he said, voice echoing in the huge theater. The audience leaned forward instantly. I didn't challenge Steven. I didn't question him. But I'm here now because millions of people turned this into something bigger, and maybe that means something. Another breath. A deeper one. If this challenge happens, I want it to stand for honor. For discipline. For truth. Not ego. Not hate. Not headlines. The theater fell silent. Jason's voice grew stronger. Martial arts isn't about who hits harder. It's about who stands taller. Seagal's eyes sharpened, but he said nothing. White medium star Seagal responds, and the room shivers. Seagal finally stepped to the microphone. He didn't speak loudly. He didn't shout. But his voice carried the weight of a man who lived a lifetime in the shadows of discipline. I respect Jason for speaking his truth, he began. Jason looked surprised. But truth is only half of honor. The other half, Seagal continued, is accountability. A murmur spread through the crowd. Seagal continued. If the world believes there is a challenge, if the world believes there is a test, then honor demands we face it. Not for them. Not for fame. But for the art itself. And then he ended with a line that sent chills through the entire theater. A warrior does not choose the battle. The battle chooses the warrior. Jason exhaled sharply. He understood what Seagal was saying. There was no turning back now. White medium star. The twist, a message from a secret guest. Just as the host prepared to end the event, a stage manager rushed in with a note. He whispered something into the host's ear. The host's expression changed instantly. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special message from someone watching this very closely. The screens lit up. The crowd gasped. Jason's eyes widened. Seagal blinked for the first time in minutes. Because the man appearing on the screen was a world-famous martial artist. A legend. A global icon. A master respected by both men. He smiled and said, Jason. Steven. If this battle is truly happening, you'll need both skill and wisdom. So I'm inviting you to train with me, separately, before the showdown. The theater exploded. Jason turned to Seagal. Seagal turned to Jason. The real war had just begun. The moment the special message appeared on the giant screen, the entire theater fell silent. Jason Statham and Steven Seagal exchanged glances that spoke louder than words. Both knew the stakes had changed. This wasn't about headlines or social media fame anymore. This was about mastery, honor, and proving themselves before the world. The legendary martial artist on the screen continued, his calm yet commanding voice resonating through the room. Jason, Steven, before the world sees your showdown, you must train with me. I will teach, correct, and prepare you. Only then will this challenge carry meaning. Jason's brow furrowed. He had always prided himself on his discipline and preparation, but there was something different about this offer. This wasn't training for a movie. This was real. And Steven Seagal, the stoic master, gave a subtle nod, acknowledging the importance of the opportunity. The secret training begins. Both men were flown to a remote, private training facility nestled in the mountains of Japan, a place few outsiders had ever seen. Ancient dojos lined the area, each filled with centuries of martial arts tradition. Bamboo groves swayed in the wind outside, and the quiet chirping of birds contrasted with the tension that hung in the air between the two Hollywood titans. Jason trained under a regimen that pushed his body to its absolute limit. Every movement was precise, every strike calculated, every muscle screaming with exertion. His modern, high-intensity approach fused conditioning, pad work, and sparring with cutting-edge martial arts techniques he had mastered over the years. Seagal, on the other hand, trained in silence. Every block, every redirect, every lock he performed carried decades of experience. His training was less about speed and more about exploiting every subtle weakness in his opponent's structure. The ancient master overseeing them observed both men intently, occasionally stepping in to adjust posture, correct timing, or highlight a moment of imbalance. The lessons are hard. Days turned into nights. Nights turned into early mornings. Both men were exhausted, mentally and physically. Their respect for the process deepened, and with it, their respect for each other. Jason, breathing heavily after a set of grueling drills, turned to Seagal. Your moves, they're subtle but deadly. I didn't realize that precision beats everything. Seagal merely nodded. And your speed, your timing, you've pushed your body harder than I expected. That's why you're worthy of this challenge. The world outside was still watching, of course. News outlets had discovered the secret training location. Clips leaked, just a few seconds of them moving with incredible skill, dodging, striking, redirecting. Fans erupted in speculation. Jason is lightning fast. Seagal looks untouchable. This will be legendary. Engagement skyrocketed. Millions of comments flooded social media, debating which man had the edge. Who do you think has the advantage after seeing this training? Type Statham if you believe speed and strength will win, or Seagal if experience and technique dominate. The breakthrough moments. One night, after an exhausting day, the master called them together. Both of you have strength and skill. But mastery isn't just physical, it is mental, he said. You must learn to anticipate, respect, and adapt. Only then will the world see true warriors. Jason and Seagal locked eyes. This wasn't a competition, they were learning from each other, testing each other, preparing for something bigger than themselves. Jason realized that speed without awareness could be dangerous. Seagal realized that patience without decisiveness could be lethal. And the master watched, knowing that by the end of this training, Hollywood would witness not just a fight, but an unforgettable moment of martial artistry. The world starts to take sides. Meanwhile, fans worldwide were desperate for updates. News networks from Tokyo, Dubai, London, Karachi, Los Angeles, and New York ran non-stop feeds about the training. Short clips circulated, and reactions flooded in. From Manila. Jason looks unstoppable. London checking in. Seagal is a god of technique. Dubai reporting. I can't believe both are real martial artists. The hashtags exploded, hashtag Statham vs Seagal, hashtag Hollywood Showdown, hashtag martial arts legends, hashtag global battle. The leaks only increased the hype. People weren't just waiting, they were choosing sides, analyzing every move, every stance, every subtle shift in the videos. The final training day. On the last day, the master called both actors to the main dojo. The bamboo floors reflected the morning sun, and the air was electric. "You have done well," he said, voice calm but piercing. "Tomorrow, the world will see what you have learned. But remember, victory is meaningless without respect. Honor is the true prize." Jason and Seagal bowed deeply, acknowledging each other and the master. Both men were exhausted. Both were stronger, sharper, more focused. But one thing was clear, this wasn't about who would dominate, it was about who could command not just skill, but integrity. Outside, cameras waited. Fans waited. Hollywood waited. The stage was set. The world's eyes were on them. And tomorrow, history would witness a clash unlike anything the entertainment industry had ever seen. If you were watching this live, would you be cheering for Statham or Seagal? Comment now, your vote could become part of history. The day had finally arrived. The Dolby Theater, normally a venue for glitzy awards and premieres, had transformed into an arena of anticipation. Red carpets, media tents, and giant screens lined every corner. Fans from every corner of the globe, Karachi, Tokyo, London, Dubai, Manila, Los Angeles, New York, had gathered online and in person, their excitement reaching fever pitch. Inside the theater, tension crackled like static electricity. Jason Statham and Steven Seagal walked onto the stage from opposite wings, both calm, both focused. No words were exchanged. All that mattered was the energy they radiated, the discipline, skill, and respect that had been honed over weeks of grueling training under the legendary master. The world watches. Millions tuned in via live stream. Cameras broadcast every movement, every glance, every subtle shift in posture. Social media exploded. Hashtag Statham vs Seagal, the moment is here. From Karachi. I can't breathe, this is insane. Tokyo reporting, both are legends, but who will dominate? London, this is more than a fight, it's history. Even celebrities weighed in. This isn't just Hollywood drama. This is martial arts mastery on a global stage. The crowd in the theater held its breath. The arena was silent, every eye fixed on the two legends as they assumed their positions. The showdown begins. The bell, or in this case, the signal, was given. Not a single loud noise, just the subtle acknowledgement of the start. Jason moved first, his speed and agility evident. He shifted, dodged, feinted, and pressed forward. Every strike was controlled, every movement calculated. Seagal responded with absolute calm. His technique wasn't flashy, but devastatingly precise. He redirected Jason's energy, used the environment to his advantage, and countered every approach with almost invisible shifts. The theater gasped each time a subtle maneuver or near miss occurred. Fans couldn't believe the skill on display. Respect in action. Unlike any fight Hollywood had ever staged, neither man sought to dominate aggressively. This was a duel of honor and mastery. Jason's speed met Seagal's experience, Seagal's precision met Jason's raw energy. Each move told a story, decades of training, discipline, and philosophy coming alive on stage. The audience realized what they were witnessing, this wasn't a battle to humiliate or defeat. It was a lesson for the world. Martial arts, in its purest form, was being demonstrated before their eyes. And the world responded instantly, cheering, clapping, commenting, tweeting, and sharing the clips across every platform imaginable. The turning point. Midway through, Jason executed a complex combination, feints, quick strikes, dodges. Seagal, expected to falter, simply shifted his stance, redirected the energy, and subtly countered with a wrist-lock demonstration that stunned the entire theater. The crowd erupted in applause. Jason smiled, acknowledging the skill, and Seagal nodded in return. In that moment, the audience realized neither had truly won or lost. Both had elevated each other, pushing the limits of human skill and respect. The world reacts. As clips of the showdown went viral, reactions poured in from every country. From Manila, "This is the greatest martial arts display of my lifetime." New York, "Jason's speed is insane, but Seagal's technique is unmatched." London, "Respect all around. Both are legends." Karachi, "We witnessed history today." The hashtags exploded, #Statham vs Seagal, #Legends of Hollywood, #Martial Arts Mastery. Millions of comments debated, celebrated, and shared. But the overwhelming consensus was clear: this was more than a fight. This was respect personified. The aftermath. After the showdown, both actors took the stage together. Jason extended his hand, Seagal grasped it firmly. Cameras flashed, live streams captured the moment, and the audience cheered like never before. Jason spoke first. Today wasn't about beating anyone. It was about showing the world that skill, respect, and honor matter more than fame or ego. Seagal added, calmly, "Martial arts isn't about violence, it's about discipline. It's about understanding yourself and your opponent." And today, we both honored that tradition. The world watched, listened, and learned. Millions felt inspired, not just by the skills displayed, but by the dignity, humility, and mutual respect shown by two of Hollywood's greatest action legends. Fans were urged to join the conversation. If you believe in respect, skill, and honor over ego and fame, type legends in the comments. And subscribe for more epic stories from Hollywood and beyond. This finale not only wraps the story with drama, cinematic visuals, and global engagement but also gives your YouTube video maximum shareability and audience interaction, turning the showdown into a worldwide viral moment.